feel like I'm ignoring it.
Hey, I'm gonna ask for a recruit I was invited up.
Was it? Are you not? Can you mention that?
No, for the
They used to work with my wife, but then she caught on.
Didn't I say?
Oh, really? It's working.
I swear to God.
I read it.
For real, that's not just selling.
Okay.
I like it. I haven't heard from anybody.
Well, sorry. Brock, it's a boy. Whatever.
You were gonna do it tonight.
They showed up.
They did. Did you hit it? Did you get straight in?
You didn't strike out. I just struck it.
But you're not supposed to.
No. I was kind of nervous about that.
Where's answer that?
Maybe.
Get it off the TV.
So is that where it'll be?
No, I think it was
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you everybody for coming. I understand we're going to look at moving the 4th of July and those activities up to the front of the agenda. Were there any other additions?
Mayor, just to clarify, 4th of July would be moved up to the first item under new business, correct?
Yep. Okay.
Motion to approve the amended agenda.
Second. Chad and Sam, Chad Wolf and Sam. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have a couple of visitors to be heard today. Guidelines are it's about 2 minutes. No swearing and nasty language allowed. It's a short cut of it. So, Justin, did you want to come up and talk to? Yeah.
For those who don't know me, my name is Sean Griggs. I'm on the Park and Rec Board for City of Lennox. And if you're not familiar with what we do for our 8U program is we go through the City of Key and they formulate a small league for, that is based, the kids from Lennox, T, and Harrisburg play against one another. But since SEFSA, Sioux Empire Fast Pitch Association, had canceled their season, T decided that they were no longer going to do that program for the 8U kids. So I'm asking you guys to maybe reconsider and allow the 8U kids to play June 1st, or start practicing June 1st and start playing June 15th, because we can join the Southeast League and still have games against kids that are not just from Lennox. The Southeast League is down vastly in the amount of teams that they have this year, but they have 2 teams from Freiburg Hurley, one from Centerville, and one from Canton, where our 4 teams could play against them potentially. So if that doesn't happen, they're probably gonna be stuck playing against themselves in July and August when it's very hot. And I talked to the commissioner of the Southeast League, and most of those cities want to start sometime in June versus middle of July into August, so.
Justin, can you work with them on that?
Yes, we can. Is that what Park and Rec Board recommends too?
We just found this out on Thursday that Sesso was canceled.
Okay.
So I've talked to a few of the members. That's the direction we would like to go.
Consensus is that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the biggest challenge, as everything right now, is logistics of getting all this up and running quickly. But Justin and I talked to Sean this morning, and we feel we can make this happen relatively soon. So what I would suggest, we'll cover this under old business of the COVID-19 plan. We'll just amend that, move the AU softball to June start.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Any other people to be heard by the visitors? All right, we'll move on. Consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second. Riley and Sam.
I've just got a couple of questions on the public works report and the park and rec.
Go ahead.
Can we do that now?
Yeah, please.
In regards to the public works, just in terms of, and I would just like to see this from basically our street foreman, a little more specifics to the asphalting and the gravel streets that need to get maintained. Just like a week out. I mean, I like the fact of annual asphalt maintenance starting May 18, great. Targeting 2 days a week, I think that can be 3 days a week. If our number one concern from our citizens are streets, then we've got to be all in on a plan and keeping them notified on what we're doing in terms of patching and some type of a schedule. I understand weather plays an issue in setting a schedule, but.
It does, and one of the challenges, one of the things we've had, we targeted 2 days a week for now, is simply a staffing issue. We're borrowing one staff from the parks crew to work on those projects right now until our vacant streets department position is filled.
And when's he coming?
June 29th, I believe, is the start date. But I think even with that, weather permitting, we could probably get in 3 days yet. So I can certainly speak with Mr. Meckles and work on a more specific plan in advance of each week.
And then regarding the parks and rec, do you know, in terms of the numbers of the refunds or rosters, was it about half the roster?
43 that withdrew.
Withdrew, what was the total number of kids we had registered?
Total number registered was
Yeah.
390.
And we had 43 that needed,
43 that
okay.
withdrew. Yep. Did you add any? Added one. And to kind of jump on Brock's, is there any way we could get an email of what the streets what their plan is like on Friday for the next week?
So they're planning for the following week.
Right.
Here's what we're going to be addressing there.
Yep.
That'd be good.
And then just having put some, if there's rain days, just alternate, what their plan is and what they're gonna do.
Okay.
Call the question.
Okay. Do roll call vote. Billy?
Aye.
Riley?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Rod?
Aye.
Chad?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Old business COVID-19 plan.
Thank you, Mayor. There's some substantial changes to this plan for the first time in a few weeks. I think the biggest items I'll just briefly go over, like to open City Hall again tomorrow. I think we're at a point now where we feel confident and safe doing so. We can take precautions internally if we need to in terms of wearing masks and continue to use gloves and hand sanitizer, sanitizing surfaces. And we can do that. So remote work will continue to be authorized, the staff are encouraged to begin that transition back to their workstation. At this point, I don't think anybody's really working remotely. I was kind of the last one. And as soon as school was out, I was able to be back here full time. So that's probably the biggest change. The other changes that you're going to see are what I highlighted under Parks and Recreation. We have precautions in there for our recreation programs, what safety measures we're going to take there. We may take some others. I looked over the weekend, they do have essentially yard signs available that remind folks in parks to keep social distancing measures active. So we may order a few of those and make sure those are out. Overall, I think these precautions in Parks and Rec and the swimming pool are consistent with both the state guidelines, but also the CDC guidelines. I know Justin also worked with the State Park and Rec Association and neighboring Parks and Rec directors to iron out a little bit of what they're doing. One last addition that we received last week was a waiver form essentially for pools that the insurance, our insurance carrier put out for all municipalities that they cover. Did slightly amend that, talked to Brett about that. We can use that, we can put it in place immediately. My concern is always again with logistics with kids. It doesn't make any sense for a kid to sign if they're not 18 or older, it really isn't valid anyway. So if we have kids that are coming to the pool on a day pass, I'm not quite sure how we would enforce compliance with a waiver. It's one of those things we'll have to iron out if we are going to use that. How do we do so? I still think, in talking with Brett, the city attorney, that there are certain risks inherent here regardless. If somebody were to contract COVID-19, in my opinion, and it would be difficult to assume that it came from any one specific location. So I'll leave that up. If the council would wish to use those waivers for us to find a way to implement them to the furthest extent possible, we can certainly do that. But again, for kids that are coming to the pool without a parent, that's going to be a tough one for us to enforce.
Would we maybe be able to upload those on our website and have them print them off at home and sign them and bring them in?
We certainly can.
And you want to, in terms of these new ones, I know you've got pool capacity here reduced to 150. Is that something we want to, in my personal opinion, I don't think that's going to be necessary, putting a limit on the number of patrons. I think if the pool capacity is 260. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but do we have to?
I think with local businesses, really with the region opening up businesses and restaurants and places of gathering, is there that big of a difference between 150 and 260? No, not really. And at this point, if we can, later on the agenda, we'll go over additional staff that will be implemented for this summer. And I think if we can successfully use those staff in the way they're intended to be used, I think we can still enforce some measure of social distancing.
Sure.
So bringing it to full capacity, I really don't think would be an issue.
Would it be possible to reserve a time for totally kids since they bring a lot of kids?
Yes, we spoke with them earlier
Yeah.
in the week.
Yep. We spoke with one other daycare provider today. We got to figure out some of that time. It seems manageable. I think we're looking at probably 15 kids at a time, from what I understand.
For totally kids?
Yeah. So that seems to be very manageable, even without 50.
Put signage out, Nate.
For
I know you're concerned with youngsters signing a waiver, but with some sort of
I consider the banner as you enter, entrance is implied consent.
Right.
We certainly could, through use of signage imply that we bear no responsibility if you were to.
One of the questions that have been brought up to me and probably to everybody here is the question about making sure the youth of Lennox get served first. And part of my idea about having the waiver signed is that we'd have the parents here to sign that. And the other thing is not to have a drop-off of a kid or a group of kids to stay for a day. If we could have an adult sign a waiver, even if not the guardian to have them do the waiver, would be one way of mediating that. I don't know how effective it would be, but it would be one way of mediating people from outside coming in, but I don't know, that's kind of for the council to decide. That was something that I thought would be a mediation factor.
Sounds like Harrisburg is only allowing Harrisburg residents.
How are they?
Do you know the police in that?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That's the challenge. I mean, if we could use school IDs, I suppose, for kids, but, there are kids that may go to Gordon that live in Lennox. I know one of our lifeguards has a Lennox address, but goes to school in Harrisburg. It's those kinds of things that I'm just not sure, especially for those preschool age kids, if they're coming with somebody else, how do we verify residency?
Or if they come and visit grandma and grandpa for 2 weeks.
Right.
In the
Yeah.
summer.
Yep.
And if you do that to the pool, they have to do it to the baseball fields and the walking trail and the park and everything.
Right. And, in a normal year, I would say pretty emphatically that we want outsiders to use our pool. If for no other reason than that they pay for the operation. Pools cost money, they cost a lot of money. And the more people we bring in from the outside, not just to spend money at that pool, but also to spend money at Casey's and Lennox and Sunshine and Dollar General or whoever else it may be. And maybe drive by a new housing development, we're better off. And so I want to continue to encourage that outside use. But this year is just a different year.
And we'll give it I'm sorry, Tracy, we'll give it you have to look at this for a week and see where we're at with numbers. If we're allowing 260, I just don't see that many days where that's going to be plumb full with it. And I could be completely wrong, maybe 400 show up on the first 85-degree day, I don't know, but I don't, until that happens.
Didn't we average like 80 some the last time we had a pool or for daily attendance?
I really don't.
I thought, I heard that.
Well, it was advertised on
Maybe
Sioux Falls
100.
radio stations that, don't worry, Sioux Falls, Lennox has a pool open this year.
Well, Dakota News Now will be here tomorrow. If the council wishes, I will remind them that Wild Water West is also open.
Along with Wall Lake.
Another point that was made to me too was, we went 2 years without a pool, and our kids went where?
Right.
And they weren't turned down.
Right.
You know, and granted, this is a different year.
Yeah.
Well, then it sounds like we're kind of playing by ear, because I've talked to about having, if we have to have wristbands put on if we're getting too much of a crowd or whatever, and look at it, but we'll have to see what we get.
I think there's an extent to which we just need to be flexible with how we approach these problems. But this is just something we've not seen before.
For everything.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a moving target.
Yeah, moving target.
Is there a desire to go to full capacity on the sense of the council?
Personally, I would see no reason not to. I don't know what anyone else.
Just what I've read now in terms of getting the science of kids outside and coronavirus in a pool. Now, it's different than like bacteria and those types of, that's always gonna be there. But in terms of the coronavirus, there's very limited, low risk to that. So, I still wanna be able to hey, you're a little, you need to get a little bit of space, but.
I think we still need to be wise about
Yeah,
how we
absolutely.
maintain personal hygiene.
Absolutely.
Is there a whole lot of data on it though?
What's that?
Is there a whole lot of data on it?
No, but it's,
I think we'll know more after this Lake of the Ozarks deal here.
right.
Will we have the staff available if we increase that? We'll be able to do that.
I think our staffing model works with 150 or 260. Either way, we're probably gonna have a 6-hour staff.
Part of me wants to just wait to see what it happens with it. I feel comfortable with 150 because of the spacing issues, but
Maybe we could go 200 or something like that to start with, instead of
I get a little bit nervous with full bore.
Well, 250 is water.
260 is water.
Right.
It's in the water.
So then, yeah, then that.
So you have everybody in the pool at once and nobody on the deck.
Right.
That's the
That's
capacity.
your
That's how they do it.
That's how it works. That's how they establish that.
Well, and half the time the kids are standing in line. I mean, maybe put some X's out by the diving boards and try to, you know.
Oh, yeah, 6 foot there.
I don't know how you
But
do
they're
that.
gonna be, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we'll run out of deck space in there.
I don't envy the person in charge of keeping the social distancing with 5-year-olds.
I don't know, what's everybody's thoughts?
I'm fine with it. 260 is fine with me.
If it gets to be a hoo-ha,
We've got a meeting 1 week after, if we need to switch it to something else. You know, there are certain operational changes that Justin and I can make without, you know, necessarily involving council meeting, but I
okay,
think if it's a substantial change, we need to bring that on the age.
let's see what the first week brings then.
One thing I would also suggest as amendment, beyond capacity, when I put in the liability waivers, we had them sign each time they entered the bathhouse. I think that's just gonna become too burdensome. So if we can get a liability waiver for each family, each annual pass, we'll do that. If they're coming in with a day pass, they're just paying for that one day, then they'll do the daily one, but everybody else will have to do it when they get their family or single pass.
And are we gonna be a stickler on that?
I think if we don't have a waiver for them, they,
Can we turn them away?
Yeah,
You just have a file that you put them in. I would say even,
it's still gonna be tough to, I mean,
I would say even keep those for the daily passes, because then they come back, I'm sure, so
Yeah.
you can say I already filled one out.
give the parent's name and, yeah. So we will figure out how to maintain at least somewhat decent record keeping on that. We're still working on an all paper system, which is not ideal. We're hoping by next year we'll be able to go to a card system. But this year it's gonna be a little more challenging, so.
Is the insurance company recommending it or requiring it?
I don't even know if they recommended it. You know, something that some communities have requested some help with these kinds of things. So they have provided some broad guidelines, including a liability waiver. Most communities that they're going to recommend that for don't have any sort of liability waiver whatsoever already. We do have liability language on our pass application. It just isn't specific to this specific item.
2 other quick things. Library, is that gonna open?
If we wish to open it now, we can. Audra emailed me, I want to say it was Thursday or Friday, with approval from the school to open if we want. So she would like June 1st, if we're okay with that. I'm fine with that. I think it gives them time to get organized again. They're getting a lot of books in that return drop right now with the end of school, so I think that back workroom is pretty much stacked full of books right now, so, waiting a week would give them time to get that stuff restocked and organized.
And then the last thing, I had a couple calls regarding, dump day. Like we had that canceled.
Yes.
Is that still canceled or is
It
something
is.
to put back on there?
So, I was hoping we'd be able to do this yet, but I believe we got word from the city of Sioux Falls. So in the past, we did dump day. We pay for the roll-offs, but we don't pay any dump fees at the landfill. This year, since Sioux Falls is not doing it, they're charging all the communities those dump fees. So I couldn't even guess how many roll-offs we went through last year. At least 2 or 3 now. So we would be paying significant fees for dumping.
Okay.
I think, if they decide to open that up again this fall, then we do it this fall. But at this, I would say it's more than likely canceled for the year.
Okay.
We can, I think we would encourage people to bring their, whatever large items they have, trash they need to get rid of, construction materials. Go to Worthington, to Lincoln County Transfer Station. It's available, it's cheaper than bringing it to Sioux Falls. It's just a great service, and it's run by a pretty nice guy too, so.
I think it's $18 a pickup load.
And Worthington, he is a really nice guy.
Will the library continue their curbside?
We'll continue curbside until we get
For those, will they continue it after for those that
I think we should.
aren't maybe coming to get out?
Actually, true.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is, right now, pool will be open, potentially at, not potentially, but the council feels to have it at full capacity. Is that correct? For the first week, to see what happens with it. We're not doing dump days, right? All right. Opening up the office, anything else I'm missing?
I'll make sure that when, either tonight or tomorrow morning, the Facebook and also the website are updated with this plan, so folks are aware of all the changes that happens, during the meeting.
All right. And once again, it should be known, this is fluid. We're gonna see what's happening. We're getting new information all the time, and it could be cut back. It's always harder to cut it back, but that's the route we're gonna go. All right.
Motion to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Both same sign. Motion carries 5-0. On that note, 4th of July.
Thank you, Mayor. We received an application for a special event permit for our annual 4th of July celebration. There have been quite a few discussions around this. We have representatives here from Commercial Club, as well as the Fire Department, to discuss this some more. I think before we got into the COVID-19 pandemic, there were meetings that happened on the public safety side that involved ambulance, fire, police, and the Commercial Club, talking about changing the flow of traffic, eliminating parking on Main Street during the parade, just a few of those things, just to improve some of the logistics around public safety around this event. Now, the COVID-19 pandemic forced us to consider a lot more. And so this is a discussion we have to have, and I think the sooner we have it, the better, just so that we can get the Commercial Club on their way with whatever plans they need to put in place. So in terms of large gatherings in communities with substantial community spread, CDC is still recommending canceling all mass gatherings of any size. And we are still considered a community with substantial communities, or a county with substantial community spread. So if that designation were to change to minimal or moderate, CDC says keep it to 250 or fewer, but they do leave the decision on the threshold at discretion of that community. So I think it's difficult, if not impossible, to predict where we're going to be by the 4th of July. 2 weeks ago it was hard to predict where we were going to be the next day. So it's a difficult decision to make, I think, given particularly the street dance, and to a lesser extent the parade, simply because of how we have people gather together. The street dance, it's not really families just kind of separating. It's groups of people not related, not particularly well connected to each other. And the parade, I think the risk is less, simply because you tend to be with people that you are around otherwise. So the other unknown is, to what extent do people want to participate in this year? Is there some level of self-policing, so to speak, that the community is willing to undertake? So, aside from the pandemic, again, we were not on some of the public safety stuff a few weeks ago. The parking area under that plan would be extended from, or the no parking area would be extended during the street dance from 1st Avenue to 2nd Avenue, and we would not allow parade route parking at all. So we also discussed some clear expectations for security guards for the street dance. We had a few bumps last year in terms of how a few things were handled with security. But I think all of that has been discussed at length, and I think we got a good plan going forward.
I would like to, first of all, I think the parade is probably something that we'll probably look at doing in the street dance, but I'd like to get together with the Commercial Club and those and talk about what this is going to look like, what they're comfortable with it looking like. So it's not just one body's idea, but a goal. I understand Nathan has to make a plan for the fire department for the parade tonight, but I would like to give it a tentative go, but have, much like we did with the park and rec, have the council meet with it, so we all are putting out the same ideas or getting a consensus, so we don't have two disjointed processes. But I think having the Commercial Club, who's been doing a marvelous job, and Orville's been doing a marvelous job with this over the years, sit down and take a look at this and see what they're comfortable with, and what we can do to make this go so that it's as safe as possible. If there's, how does the commercial club feel about doing something like that? Just sitting down with you guys as a group and talking about it and seeing what you think it should look like and what we should think it should look like, and just taking it from there so we come out with a consensus.
Yeah, we would be totally on board with that.
Okay,
Do you guys have time frames you're working on right now? Where you gotta make hard decisions by?
Yes and no. I mean, the wheels are in motion. The big things, the band is all booked and ready to go. It's just a matter of some logistics, and like I told Nate, we could theoretically put the event together in a week, but we couldn't properly advertise and get all the stuff in line, and the insurance has to be, I think, 10 to 14 days. Is when we have to book our insurance, so at a minimum, a very minimum, 2 weeks, with the luxury of hopefully at least having 30 days.
I'd like to have it by next week.
Yeah, I think we can meet this week to make this happen.
This week would be good too.
We've got 2 meetings coming up here in the next week, and the second meeting is gonna kind of feel out the rest of our members to make sure that they're on board with what the board is thinking.
John, would it work to meet at that next meeting that you're having on this? Instead of holding a separate meeting, or how would you like to do that?
We certainly could, I think,
Well, we can figure out.
potentially on the first meeting.
Mayor and council, what I would recommend is that we approve the special permit pending acceptable precautions from the commercial club, and that has to be negotiated with commercial club in the city.
Sounds good.
And the commercial club's mainly dealing with the dance itself or all of it? All of it, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got to consider the parade, arts and park, food vendors, those kinds of things, what precautions they'll take.
Motion to tentatively approve the application.
Okay, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries 5-0. All right, thank you.
The route, I just need to know what the route is. Parade route, this is the first year I've been here for the normal parade route. Being the first, now,
Yeah, we'll go back on the original.
and then on 44.
Yeah.
Sounds good? Okay.
All right, good question.
But something, I mean, we're done with it. We're good.
Chad.
I mean, if we're gonna expect, talking to, Todd down at Sunshine, he hands out 8,000 ice cream bars, and he runs short about 2/3 of the way through.
Yeah.
So he guesstimates between 12 and 14,000. Now, that being said, do you anticipate some not coming and staying away because of COVID?
I do.
Yeah.
Or do you anticipate more coming because it's the only game in town? And then what we may have to do is extend the parade just to keep people, you know what I'm saying, just to keep people spread if we're, and again, we can have that conversation later, but it's just something to think about.
Yeah.
That maybe we lengthen, I know it's a long parade anyway, but it may have to be longer to spread people,
All the way over to Cleveland,
so.
all on for,
I'll second.
no, Cleveland. All right, we'll discuss that.
Anyway, thank you.
Yeah. It's not a third street.
All right,
Cleveland out to 44 back downhill.
we're on to fuel vendor discussion.
Thank you, Mayor. This was an item added for discussion. The request came from, I believe, Alderman Riley regarding an incident that occurred, I'll say 2 weeks ago, if I remember correctly. Two of our staff members were getting fuel. There was a confrontational, I guess, discussion that was directed towards our staff members. And I think it's something that, as customers, it certainly wasn't appreciated. I certainly think that, we spend nearly $20,000 to $25,000 a year at either of the fuel vendors. I think, just from a customer perspective, our expectations were higher, but
Yeah, the way I understand it, there's a confrontation at the service station on Main Street with a couple of our guys where they were, in my opinion, mistreated. They were, from the way I understand it, from both of them over there, they were sworn at by an employee of an establishment. To the point where if it was someone in my family that was treated that way, I just wouldn't do business there anymore. And I just think everyone on the council should be on the same page with it. So my opinion, I mean,
So,
I don't wanna do it to anyone, but I wouldn't send my family back there, and I don't think we should send our employees back there.
in regard to the individual, then, was it an employee or was it a resident?
As an employee,
Oh, okay. So an employee there, did they swear?
yes.
Swore
I,
at?
I was not there, but the report I had from staff was, yes, they were sworn at, and,
You interviewed both staff?
no, I spoke with their supervisor, both of their supervisors, who had given me the information. It was 2 Fridays ago, I believe. And I was off that day, but drove up and talked to the manager of the station. Certainly, he understood where I was coming from, but certainly not something I want my staff to be treated that way, or any community member.
Well, and I think if we force them to, send our people there to get fuel, now that we know there's an issue there, I think we've created a hostile work environment. And
There is that potential, yes.
that's the concern I have.
Have they reached out to apologize at all?
I received a phone call from the employee later that afternoon, and I simply reiterated, I'm not the person that needs to be spoken to. Our 2 employees were the ones that were mistreated, and someone can apologize to me all they want about this,
Right.
but I'm not the one that was mistreated.
It would appear to me the solution would be simple, that the employees that were there have the option of going someplace else to meet those needs. Is that not correct?
Well,
Oh, absolutely.
I just think we as an organization, as much as I don't wanna say it, as an organization, I don't think we can send any of our employees there to get product. They're our vendor, we're their customer. And our people are mistreated, and I just have a real problem with that. I don't care if we spend $25,000 there or $20 there. What would our reaction be if somebody came in our front door and had that same conversation with one of our customers?
That person's employment future would be very short.
So, do we have another vendor that can take the capacity that we
Yes.
need? I don't know what everyone else, my thought is we just stop doing business there.
Yeah, I agree with Riley in terms of, we can't have our employees go into a place that we're gonna do business with and have, like, residents, we can't, if it happens of a resident on the street, like, there's only so much we can do, and we can't protect our employees from, but an actual employee of a person that we do business with, that's a little bit more troublesome.
It's a tough discussion if for Northern Region wants to support local business, and do everything we can to, spread that business throughout the community. I know that if I had, let's say one of our pipe vendors in Sioux Falls, for example, and reacted this way to staff, I guarantee you we wouldn't be going to one. So.
Ultimately, the employees have a choice of where they go, right? So I'm guessing they probably won't be going there. Anytime
I would
soon.
be surprised if they did.
I don't know if it has to come to, we tell everybody not to go there, but, obviously, they're gonna need to hear, if they haven't already heard what happened, and make their own decision.
To your knowledge, have either one of the employees, has anyone reached out to them directly or made?
Not that I know of.
Well, the bottom line is that's not acceptable behavior. now we have to look at our reaction to it and make it commensurate. If it's good enough that those employees, if the employees that we have feel like they aren't comfortable going there, if we were to have a repeat of the situation, I don't know the history, this is the first time that this has come up that I've known. So I'm kind of hesitant to overreact, but I also think that those employees do have a choice, and if they're choosing not to go there, if our employees as a whole feel like they shouldn't go there, then they shouldn't go there. I mean, they should be able to go someplace where they're treated as any other customer, and the business won't last long if that's the way they treat their customers. But for us to dictate that it needs to be shut down, I don't know if I feel comfortable with that or not. That's your guys' decision. I do believe that they should have the option of going elsewhere and should pursue that if that's what they need to do.
I just think we as an organization need to stand behind
Yep.
our employees and send them into a place where that's not gonna happen.
Oh, I agree.
Do you, do we, in terms of the vendor, and I'm not familiar, is there a contract with the vendors, or is it just kind of?
Nothing.
Okay.
We have an account there that we charge to, for either fuel or towing. But as far as I know, there's no contract.
Can we leave that up to our administrator to make that the final decision, or does council want to make that?
I don't think we put that on me,
Okay.
unless he's comfortable making that decision. I'm just, if that conversation was had with a member of my family,
You wouldn't do business there
I
anymore.
wouldn't do business.
If I was treated like that at a business, there's no way I'd go back to that business.
Yeah.
So why would I send?
Why would we send
Our
our family?
employees. Right, right.
I
Okay. So do you need a motion
Or consensus?
or a
I don't think
consensus?
this is
It's listed as an action item, you can take action if you wish. You can also simply give direction, but I'll leave that to the.
Do we have other options for towing?
I have a couple of names that have been sent to me, but I haven't reached out to any of them yet. That would be one of my concerns, that, towing would be, more of a challenge, in town, when we need it. Now, I think most of that occurs on snow events. I don't think there's very many of them that occur outside of that.
What are your thoughts, Nate?
I certainly don't want my staff, those two in particular, to go back there. I think it'd be irresponsible for me to send down, or quite frankly, either of their supervisors there for any fuel that they need. So I think for parks and streets, I simply don't want them going back. I think it's irresponsible for us to send them back.
You're closer to this undated situation than we are, so that's your,
I'm comfortable, if others wish to use it, I'm certainly not going to say don't.
Right.
But I think, limiting, I wouldn't necessarily say limiting our exposure, but limiting the risk to our employees is a responsibility I think we take seriously.
So, what do you guys set on this? Those two entities will be doing business elsewhere?
I think you know what I stand.
I know, I do. We've always been very clear.
Chief, what's your thoughts on it?
I've been doing business there for a long time. I personally never had any issues, so to speak, with this establishment. We are limited when it comes to our tow companies. And if anybody watched the news when that tow truck driver got hit on the interstate, if you watch the procession of tow truck drivers that went to that from all over the country, they're a tight-knit group. My only concern is with how they divvy up the areas on which they operate in. And we are exclusive to one particular tow company. And they've always been faithful to us, they've always came out, we've never had a problem time, whatever day, whatever time of the day.
I personally know that if we start trying to contact somebody out of Sioux Falls, somebody out of Beersford, somebody out of Vibrant, it's going to cause problems for my department. My way in on this, I don't agree with what happened to those employees. I will take that first stand. If it was one of my employees, I guarantee you I've been down there. I completely understand that, but to take a stand that we will not operate using that company at all, the implications could end up costing us more in the long run. Not just on the side of the money, but in the side of, now we're waiting instead of 15 minutes for a tow, or 30 minutes for a tow. My guys are standing out on a busy highway for an hour to 2 hours with traffic flying by them. So, I mean, I look out for my guys. And again, I'm not taking anything away from this incident, don't get me wrong. But there's other factors that I factor into this from my side of this.
So why, since we're not into a contract, why can't they do our towing and we get fuel from other places?
Well, I think we can do that, but
Yeah.
they'd be reluctant probably if we take our business elsewhere.
Well, but that's not, we
There's
didn't,
no-
we didn't
I don't-
badger an employee. Like, I'm sorry, that's not right. I don't care.
There
If-
needs
I
to be a
just-
sincere apology to our guests.
I mean, something has to, this isn't just a poo-poo thing, I'm sorry, it's
No,
not.
it's not.
And so, I don't understand what else we can do, in terms of our employees. Like, do we let those employees decide, well, do you wanna go get fuel over here and make it just a choice thing? I mean, yeah, and with the tow thing, that's true, that's all true, and I feel bad if that's something that's the case, and if they won't do the towing because of this incident, which they happened on their terms, I just feel, I don't know, I'm just kind of upset about the whole situation, to be honest with you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thanks.
much. So which sanction do we go with?
How many tows do we do a month?
Depends on the time of year. During the summer, they exclusively take all of our abandoned vehicles or any broke down vehicles, so maybe could be anywhere between 2 to 6. And in the wintertime, we use them maybe 10 to 14 times a month.
So about 8 or 9 a month on average.
Some of that adjusts too, like we noticed, we call snow events less frequently now than we have in the past. Not that we don't send plows out, but that we don't require people necessarily to move their cars off the street for us to take care of snow removal. So I think that's more than likely accurate what she was saying. I don't think we really tracked it, but if anybody would know, he would.
It's a difficult situation.
Yeah, and the problem I have with it is it's 100% avoidable.
Oh, I agree. I'm not gonna dispute that. I guess where I'm at with it, not knowing a lot of the details, what exactly was said, it doesn't really matter what words were used. What happened, happened. I don't wanna make a knee-jerk, my personal opinion, I don't wanna make a knee-jerk reaction tonight. I think bringing this to light is part of the solution here. We have a choice right now anyhow, correct?
We do.
We can go to other vendors if they so choose. The towing thing complicates things a little bit. Does it make sense to, I'm not trying to kick the can down the road here, but the towing thing is what troubles me. So,
Can we get a tow rig in one of our pickups?
how do we mitigate that
Yeah.
without making
No.
a drastic decision right now?
Sounds to me we start out with the park and rec, we'll be gassing up elsewhere. And then we look at, revisit this again, but, or not.
Does it make sense to go visit with them, Nate? Does it make, like for you or me or
I think
whomever?
I'd be more than happy to keep the conversation going.
Okay.
I think,
It might
again,
not
I
change
did
anything.
visit with the owner that day, and, he was sincere in, you know, wishing this hadn't happened. But, I'm never gonna say that, not having the discussion is better than having the discussion. I think keeping those dialogues open is healthy. And if it can help improve our work together, I'm happy to pursue that.
I think it's important too that the gist is that this is not acceptable behavior. Despite,
But if we just brush it under the rug and don't do anything about it, then it becomes acceptable behavior, and then we have an employee that's maybe, now we know there's an issue, and another employee goes there and something happens. Now all of a sudden, the city's getting sued for a hostile work environment, because we had them go there. That's my only concern. I don't wanna put anybody out of business, I don't wanna hurt any of our local businesses, but at the same time, we have to look out for our citizens and our employees.
We just can't let it happen again.
If our employees have the option to go somewhere else and not, don't feel comfortable there, that's good.
Yes.
all right, so consensus, what do we say?
I'd say for the time being, if they don't wanna go somewhere else and Nate doesn't wanna directs them to go somewhere else for the time being. So we have a discussion, I'm willing to go down there,
Yeah, I'll go down there.
have a discussion, about whatever took place.
Yeah.
I don't know what will come of it, right, but
I don't mind it either. Maybe that's my spot to go down there too.
And I guess a discussion with our employees about how did they feel about it? Were they taken aback by it? Were they scared by it? Did they like, what's going, confused or, I don't know.
Yeah. All right, so for right now, there'll be some ongoing discussions with the supervisor owner. Until, right now, it sounds like the park and rec people will be going someplace else.
And streets.
And streets. Okay, we good? All right. Next one up is appointment to Lennox Housing Authority. I forgot about this, it's John Lang, I'd like to put him on to Lennox Housing Authority, so.
Who?
John Lang. I need a motion.
So, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, John's, he'll always went to a meeting, I told him, just because I forgot this meeting should go. All right, facility use agreements.
Thank you, Mayor. As we open up recreation programs, well, I'd say some predictable and some unpredictable groups have approached us about outside use of the recreational fields for adult leagues. I've also received a request for the swimming pool. So the groups I have listed here are American Legion Baseball, Only One Baseball, LCW Dirt Devils, that is a new one, new amateur baseball team, Sioux Falls Swim Team, which is a new one. Justin and I visited with them last week. Their president, April Lover, is here tonight to speak if we have questions there. And then Lennox Church League Softball. The two new additions, of course, are the Dirt Devils, led by Bailey Ludens. There's a baseball team composed, from what I understand, largely of Lennox High School graduates living in Lennox Chancellor and Worthing. The second is Sioux Falls Swim Team. April requested use of the pool for swim practice, as all the facilities they would typically use in Sioux Falls are closed. Late last week, Ms. Lover emailed me a facility use agreement that they had come up with as well, so that's in your packets, was added this morning. That includes a rental rate in there. Overall, I see no real issues with these uses. I think we need to figure out how much use we assign to that baseball field in the summer. I think, living across from it, I get to see that thing every day, and it is used a lot. So I do worry about the overuse of that facility. So at some point in the future, we need to have a discussion of how much is too much and determine what that is. With regard to the pool, I recommend going along with the proposal that Ms. Lovren submitted. I think the challenge there is figuring out the right time for their practices. We haven't determined yet what we're going to do for swimming lessons this summer. That's typically in the morning. I think the swim team typically needs the pool for approximately 3 to 4 hours. So that can start to eat into some of that swimming lesson time. So I think figuring out how we schedule it could be tricky, but I'm confident, given the lack of space that they have available, they'll be willing to work with us to work out that schedule. So if anybody has any questions regarding the pool usage, Ms. Lauer can certainly answer that. Overall, I recommend approval of agreements for all applicants.
Are the reds dissolved? Don't know anything about it.
I've heard nothing since
I
last.
think they've relocated.
I think they're located in Meadow Springs.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Probably beat you.
Oh.
Brock and Riley. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Both same sign. So the use agreements comes to conclusion 5-0. Fiscal year 2019 annual report.
Thank you, Mayor. So I did include the whole annual report for everybody to take a look at. Next meeting, I would like to present something a little, maybe more informative, let's put it that way, rather than just looking at a bunch of Excel workbooks. But it has to be approved, and I have to send it into the state by the end of May. So I wanted to get it on, so that at least it would be approved and I could send it in.
So moved.
Okay, thank you.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Resolution 2020-52601.
Thank you, Mayor. This resolution addresses ordinance number 610, which restricts businesses to 50% capacity or less. That ordinance expires on May 27th, so tomorrow. So that the ordinance 610 was passed on May 9th, relaxed and limits the size of crowds we have permitted in specific local businesses. With that expiration tomorrow, the council needs to make a determination whether to permit the ordinance to expire or to extend it for an additional time period. I think given the discussions ongoing in Sioux Falls and around the state, it's probably time to let this ordinance expire. Sioux Falls will be removing all restrictions in the coming days. I believe they'll be official on Thursday this week. And surrounding towns that still have restrictions in place will follow shortly after that. That was quite clear in discussions last week with surrounding communities. So if the council wishes to allow it to expire, no action is necessary tonight. If the council wishes to extend that ordinance, I would recommend a motion to approve resolution 2025-26-01.
I'm good with letting it expire.
So do you need like a motion to table since it's an action item, or?
No, we just don't approve it and it expires.
Just a consensus.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
I always have a little hesitation on moving forward too quick. It is something that always bothers me. But everything, information I got and been listening to is, this is a long-term one. The people who need to protect themselves need to protect themselves. Social distancing is, apparently, we must be pretty good at it because I've been following the statistics that they give us. No deaths, hospitalizations are dropping, the number of infections are dropping, the number of infected are dropping. So people are taking care of themselves, and I would encourage them to continue. And regardless of this, I think we've got to open up some of this and see what happens and see what the data does and what the infection rate does, and we'll see.
We are receiving really helpful updates every day too, from Kelly Tina over at the Independent. She thankfully has been kind enough to keep track of this and keep it on my desk for the most part by providing a daily report to me. I think the mayor receives that report as school district as well. So very helpful graphics for me to keep up to speed on. And if anybody else wishes to see that, I'm sure she'd be happy to share that out further.
It's still a serious situation. It's still out there. But we seem to be doing well, although it really annoys me that we can't get any numbers for our specific area. We can only get them for county, And I've been talking to people about trying to do zip code, give us a zip code, and that isn't happening yet, so. Okay, we'll move on. Police Department radio improvements.
Mr. Mayor and Council, as I've been keeping you guys up to date about our radio situation that we've been going through, we still had some hiccups with the digital side of things. We've tried a few different ways to fix it. We've had the radios reprogrammed a few times, different flash software updates that they thought might improve it. They've actually shipped us out different antennas for our radios, all of which didn't really improve much. So we kind of put it back on their court, made them put the effort into trying to figure out what the solution to this problem is. Their regional rep took a look at this, and when they started digging into this a little bit more, they came to the conclusion that based on where our geographic location is, we are just far enough away from every digital tower where the next solution would be to put repeaters in the vehicles. So based on their recommendation, that is my recommendation for our next step. Per that, we reached out with Motorola and had them rewrite the agreement that we initially brought forward to get the radios. As you may know, we have not paid Motorola anything yet. The agreement was rewritten under the same terms, just with the adding of the additional equipment plus the installation, so that we would not really incur any new expenses for this budget year. They've agreed. We have the new terms and conditions written up. We're just waiting for the demo to put it in the car to make sure that, yes, this is going to fix our problem before we commit to this. So that's where we're at right now. Due to COVID-19, the production on the repeater side of things was slowed. Their factory's out of Chicago, so obviously they've been hit pretty hard there. I reached out to Mario, our rep from FutureCom. He said it'd probably be about another 2 to 4 weeks before we get our demo radio, and then we will be having that installed.
Motion approved, pending results of the demo.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Wellmark Foundation Small Match Grant Proposal.
Thank you, Mayor. Earlier in May, the Lennox Foundation issued their RFP for their annual small match grant program. This has been discussed between Parks and Rec Specialist Justin, myself, and Sean Grings. Sean sits on the Lennox Park Board, approached city staff with a proposal to install 2 sand volleyball courts at West Evergreen Park. In reviewing the grant, additional funds would be available and achievable, I think. And staff would include a new playground equipment, and possibly a new sign in that grant request. So the grant would include up to $25,000 from the Wellmark Foundation. The city would be responsible for 50% match. That should be $12,500, not $125,000 with a misplaced comma. My proofreader caught that earlier today, and I thank her. This amount is similar to the amount set aside for the park board discretionary amount this year's budget, and I really don't think it would be difficult to achieve that next year either. So my recommendation is a motion to authorize city administrator to complete and submit that grant application, which is due June 5th.
So moved.
Second.
First, second. All right. Any discussion?
Where are you gonna put the volleyball courts?
It'll be inside the current berm for the.
So then we just put the water right over the sand? Are we gonna tear those berms out? Or do you wanna keep
We
those?
may, but they may be really useful for containing those courts. So.
Perfect.
I should be clear, there's not going to be any ice skating on
Ice skating volleyball. There we go.
Sand drains water worse than the ground is currently there.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Both same side. Motion carries 5-0. Under personnel, swimming pool attendant monitor job description.
Thank you, Mayor. In front of you, one of the things we discussed in the COVID-19 plan precautions for the pool is staff to monitor social distancing and to sanitize and clean to the best extent possible. So I know Justin has already ordered chemicals for sanitizing. Hopefully those are in on time. If not, we will find alternate means. This staff member is really just to keep people as safe as possible. They are not a lifeguard. They are simply a monitor or an attendant. So anything lifeguard related will be delegated to those 4 lifeguards that are on duty at any given time. 3 definitely on deck at any given time. So 2 on the chair, one rowing. This person will be going back and forth from the pool deck to the restrooms, back and forth, sanitizing and monitoring throughout the day. So this was pulled together very quickly. I would say in positions like this, that section on other duty as assigned is really important because this is an unknown situation. It's changing frequently, and we need to adjust frequently. So I would recommend a motion to approve this job description.
So moved.
Second.
So like the weed spraying, is that, I mean, we don't have anything that they're gonna spray that they need an applicator's license or anything?
No. Anything that they're spraying is stuff that is perfectly acceptable use for the age.
Do you know how many hours they'll get a week?
One look at how many we're hiring 5 tonight, potentially 5. So we would have 8 hours a day split out between 7 days. We would have to work with each one to figure out how many hours they're willing to take. So.
And if something changes drastically regarding where we may not need this individual, do we just continue to have them through the summer until the summer's out? And I don't really expect that to happen. I think doing all we can within reason in regards to the COVID.
I think given, it's something I want to discuss with the city attorney, but I think given the rapidly changing situation, if we get to the point that the position is not needed, we simply eliminate the position and lay off staff.
Sure.
I feel far more confident doing this with that level of position than I do with a lifeguard or other staff. So
I don't see it really changing that much.
it would have to change very quickly. At this point, the pool will be open for 11 weeks this summer, give or take. So.
Did err on the caution side. I think we don't want to err on the caution side of this position anyways. All in favor?
Aye.
Post same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Seasonal staff.
Thank you, Mayor. As we just discussed, we're going to hire additional staff to ensure safety and sanitary conditions and rec programs in the swimming pool. So with staff monitoring social distancing, with the job description we just accepted, and ensuring that we have proper staffing on the deck at all times for lifeguards, we would recommend a motion to hire the following seasonal employees. I'll just list them out and their positions. The pay rates are consistent with what we've done before. Mara Hinker as a lifeguard, Andrew Doherty as a lifeguard, Abby Lagus as a pool attendant / monitor, Sawyer Bowers as a pool attendant / monitor, Isabel Enan, pool attendant / monitor, Brady Wolf, pool attendant / monitor, Davian Abrahamson, pool attendant / lifeguard. So he's not certified yet. If the Red Cross does open their certification, he'll go through it, and his pay will change consistent with that. And Kylie Huberson, lifeguard.
So
Second, can I ask a question?
Yep, discussion.
Are any of these lifeguards certified to teach swimming lessons?
We have 2 with this hire that would be certified to teach swimming lessons.
2 of these do.
One of these, Mara Hinker, I believe, has her water safety instructor certificate, as does Caitlin Hilligus, who we hired previously. So we do think we'll be able to do swimming lessons again. The issue is just finding the time and schedule to make it work.
Heaters working in the pool, right?
The heaters were
Well, I would think,
71 degrees, I believe, last time I checked.
back in my day, you know,
I know we approved to let the swim team use the pool, but to me, it's more important to our community to have swimming lessons than it is to have a swimming.
Agreed.
We just have to figure out what that time frame is like.
Yep, I agree fully. All right. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. We hired them. Appointment of election workers.
Thank you. I listed those three. Holly Dodd would be the precinct superintendent at $150 a day. Kimbo and Valerie Stanton would be at $135 a day.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mayor, just have one last point on the election workers. I think we will, Denise and I will want to work in the next week or so to figure out what the election certification schedule looks like, and then how quickly we see that as council. We know we will have one seat turning over, and so making that transition as quickly as we can, but still being able to put in an orientation for any new members of council will be necessary.
It's an election.
Can we make sure we get them food?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Because I know that my mother-in-law was on one time, and I think she backed her own food.
Unacceptable.
Motion to go into exec.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Take a small break.
Did you just second?
I didn't do it. No, I was going to motion to go into exec.
Oh, you did. Did you already second? Okay.
Yeah.